Welcome back to the table. You're listening to Finding a Toria, a weekly TTRPG podcast where a group of friends sit down together and talk about all things tabletop role-playing. I'm Arcadia. With me at the table today is Malcolm.
Hey, how's it going?
Tori.
I'm ready.
And Jess.
Hello.
In case you can't tell, we've already been at the table for a little bit and have gotten
As sometimes producer
going.
of this podcast, this is our fifth attempt to get this one off the ground.
But we're in the
I want to be honest with
now.
the people.
We're there.
Yes, we are. Okay. And
What are we talking about?
So, today we're going to talk about multi-classing.
Excellent.
And basically sort of dig into where do you get to multi-class? Why would you want to do it? Why might you not want to do it? And share some of our experience and with making those choices. So, Bird, I think you've got a fair amount of information for us over there.
I've been trying to read your notes upside down for the last half hour.
Have you? It's funny though, because these are really not that deep.
But you did the thing.
I did the
righteously.
thing.
You built out.
I built out. Okay, so I currently, at one of my tables, I am playing a rogue. Everybody be shocked.
Heartbreak. I'm going to die over here.
Who is currently,
surprised.
I know, who is currently a 4th level rogue.
And this is a D&D game for everybody.
It's a D&D game.
5e?
5e, we're allowed to use 5e and 2024.
Okay, so
which is
5
how
and
I'm getting
5.5.
Yeah, so 5 and 5.5. We are the way that the story has been going and the way my character has decided to go. Not really. I had plans for her to be straight rogue.
You
Okay.
can't tell your player character that you have plans for them.
I didn't tell her. She just decided that wasn't going to work. And I've got her. So she's going to end up special ops.
Okay. So you had a path that was not multi-class for this character.
I had where I thought she was going to go, and then she turned.
Okay, so this is different than I thought. Not all of this was pre-planned.
No.
And game circumstances.
And choices I've made.
Choices in game led you down a path of multi-class.
Yep.
So I'm intrigued by this because I think that is not always the most common. I think people usually choose when they're starting a character or when they come to that first opportunity or whatever, or at least at a lower level. Because my understanding is this is a level 15.
Well,
character?
I built her up to 15.
Okay.
So I have it planned up to 15.
So you say that the story and the character sort of took you here. At what level were you when this is going on?
So part of my character's backstory is she was raised in a monastery, is not a monk.
Okay.
Monking is, there's too much rules and shit, and she didn't like that.
Tori,
But I'm
so
loving the
she-
monastery. Like, just the vibe's good.
So it was good. I learned how to sweep real well, learned how to do chores, all sorts of stuff.
Haircuts are a cinch.
But I also learned how to learn.
Okay.
So she was already somewhat martial-minded.
Okay.
Sister's a monk. Circumstances led to there's a university in game that we're taking classes at where she's picking up tactics, history, and I think government.
Okay, the first thing I like about this is that there is a reason in the game that
There
you're
is a reason.
multi-class.
And the fact that during every fight, I'm not real mobile. So I figured out that I would... one of the first battles, she climbed a tree and was pegging people from up top because she gets advantage because she's hidden.
Okay.
And I was like, well, shit, that's a good plan. Like, why don't we just make this bitch a sniper? And, well, from sniper, and she's a soul knife. So she's also a walkie-talkie. You get her up high and she can tell people on the battlefield, like the ones in the back, tell them what the ones in the front are doing, and hey, so-and-so's going to need help.
The rogue in the chair.
Yes. I've got the comms.
Gotcha.
So because of that, I was like, we probably should put some fire shit in here because really seems like it's not a rogue thing to do. So because of that, a martial class was wanted. So
Okay. What did this do for your character? Did you have to give something up in these rule sets, or did you just get to make that choice and apply that choice? Were there conditions? Did you have to have proficiencies at any level?
Well, with multi-classing, you have to have a certain number or score for
I
an
think
ability.
it's 13 for a primary ability.
Yeah.
So they do apply that in
Right. And I had those 13s was the thing. I had enough in there.
And so beyond that, you sort of get your druthers in the 5e/2024 rules.
Yep.
Okay.
I got to pick.
Do we remember the heady days of 96?
Yes.
Sing a little song to bring us back. It wasn't always that way with the multi-classing
Right.
and the dual classing.
Talking about this offline was really sort of interesting to me for you to bring this up because, we've mentioned on the show, I don't know how many times, that Idri is a fighter and a mage and was a 2e creation. So,
and I think that we homebrewed just about every aspect.
right.
Do you want to do it? Oh, you can do it. Well, there was a lot of that, but it's an easy way in my mind, if misapplied from a GM standpoint, to break the game. If you just say, okay, and I almost felt like 2024 did that in giving just an awesome amount of freedom and very few restrictions on how you can do that. You can decide that you could I need a level of that, and you can apply it. And of course, it's not that simple, but back in second edition AD&D,
break it down for us.
it was just different. It was something that was kind of new in the game that I think players had been asking for because previous versions, I believe, did not hold it in their rule sets. And they seemed like they were kind of walking through the grass a little bit on it and not sure how to apply it. And there was a lot of ask the DM sort of situations in there, especially when you got into the spell casting. But I thought that it was something that they really opened up with the more modern rules to where it was almost, hey, be careful with this because you can cap your character. You can do a lot of different things in the old setting. But
So, okay, dig into the old rules a little bit. You say they were just sort of tiptoeing up to it.
It didn't feel like it was very fleshed out. Now, they had ways that you could do it, and that's what introduced it to the game, but there were a lot of restrictions to start with. Humans could do things that demi-humans couldn't. There was a difference between dual classing that humans could do where you got proficient at something, stopped doing that, stopped getting experience for that, and started something else versus the multi-classing. And I'm not going to go way deep into it, but in that you could take different classes and sort of bring them up incrementally by dividing out your experience points to different.
We leveled faster than you did.
Yeah, and that's what we always came back to is Idri's leveling was slower.
Yep.
And but to be fair, we played for so many years and we got to such high levels. In the end, it just almost didn't even matter.
It didn't.
In all honesty.
It didn't. But take us back to your build there and kind of what you went through. Maybe I'm interested to see. You said that you built this out to 15th level, so you're making future decisions with what you have now. So how does that reconcile with? Could that be knocked offline with what happens in game?
Yeah, because once again there was a difference of opinion here. Like with the way she's behaving, I need a second. She is the rangeristy rogue that I've ever had.
Okay.
So,
i.e. sniper ability there.
Right. So make her take some ranger, Gloomstalker. And I'm like, okay. Well, then I looked at fighter and I'm like, no, I don't want the magic. I want the weapons.
Sure.
And that's what the new rules offer you is almost that.
I don't want
that buffet of abilities.
And partially to that, if you went Ranger, Ranger is almost a multi-class in and of itself.
Right.
Is just by
I don't need all of that shit.
And so that almost turns you into a triple class.
Right, which we don't need to do.
Right.
We don't need to do. I don't need magic. I don't. There's plenty of fucking magicians. I don't need it.
So I want to get back to this, but what keeps coming back into my brain is, you're talking about how you did not plan this. The story went there, and it made sense for the narrative of the storytelling to build this way. And I know Jess plays, your original character, Ellen, as a multi-class character. And I was right there with you when we built Ellen.
Yes.
And so, we had a big, long discussion about what you wanted that character to do and what you wanted her to be. And what we came round to is that she had to be multi-class. And so that was something you planned from the beginning. So share with us a little bit. It's just and it's an opposite approach. So share with us a little bit about building Ellen in that choice to multi-class.
Well, yeah, so this was like my very first introduction to anything D&D related. So you were helping me go through the character sheet because I had no idea what I was looking at the time and didn't know what any of this stuff was. Like you had me looking through the player's handbook at the different classes, and I knew from years of playing World of Warcraft that wizard is probably the best way for me to go. I like my casters. I like having magic, and I like hitting things from afar with fire. I've been playing a mage in World of Warcraft since 2004 when the game came out. Like I like my wizards. So, but then I saw in the player's handbook the warlock. I was like, okay, there's not really any like mechanical need in the game to dual class with this. It was more just like I couldn't decide between warlock and wizard because both were casters, and it just occurred to me that, like, it would be really, really interesting to play a good aligned character who had a patron who was a little bit more on the evil side of things. And like, what would that character do?
That narrative structure was really appealing.
Yeah, because wizard, I mean, it could have just been, there's not that external pressure. It could be just whatever, but the warlock, like, I couldn't get it out of my mind.
And at that point, it became maybe, and correct me if I'm wrong, less about the mechanic interaction between the two classes and more the narrative possibilities and the character growth possibilities with that combination.
Yes, because I still wanted to do wizard. Like, that's where my heart is.
Any more tactical than that? Was there a spell list comparison? Was there anything that drove you there besides that really compelling idea of, hey, we've got a very, very good lawful character here, and some of their power is going to come from a completely evil source?
I didn't really look too much at the mechanics.
Nice. No, and,
like,
and that's
I knew
a fair
that,
answer.
Yeah, it's like wizard was going to be where my heart was at because that's what I've been playing for years, and whatever video game I picked up, it was always going to be whatever the equivalent of wizard was.
Sure.
Is my class of choice. But then, like, I just couldn't get the good aligned character evil patron out of my head. And
so you had a narrative reason. Mine was character growth.
I was going to say happen more in real time.
Yeah.
And correct me if I'm wrong, really tactical.
Oh, yes. This is Power Gamer. Like, it made sense, and I'm building a special ops bitch.
Right. And that's one of the things that I don't think you could get to in the earlier rules of multiclassing. Like, you could get there, but they nerfed it very well to where you were going to grow at a substantially slower rate, and there almost was inherently a party imbalance in that growth if you didn't correct it with homebrew rules, or if you didn't have everybody else kind of going through that multi-class situation. But very, very interesting, the differences in the approaches there. What did you find the 2024 rules kind of let you get into that combined with 5e? What are they offering up to the adventurous multi-classer?
Well, 2024 had an easier, like, they did better things for, they dropped some of the class features down into lower levels with
Okay.
2024.
So you're getting rewarded earlier.
Right. So I was able to pick and choose when that was helping. That helped on what level I'll take when.
Right. So you can literally do this as you have done this build out and saying, I know when I get here, I'm moving this way and I'm taking this level. And I know I'm doing that because the rules allow me this feat, this ability at this level.
Well, and I'm losing some of the I'm losing some of those, like the abilities score increase.
Okay.
Because I'm stopping at certain levels and I'm not like fourth. I took a feat. Because a feat was necessary. I needed crossbow expert if bitch is going to be a sniper.
So you're making these character tree decisions as you go up in level.
Yep.
Is there any danger at all, says the wicked GM from behind his wall, of that getting torpedoed? Does that need to be a fluid plan, or you're going to level up at some point? Is there any thought to, what if this happens and now the crossbow doesn't matter at all? Do you do backup plans, or it's tactical?
This is the way she is, this character is going this direction.
Going that direction. Okay.
If I will pivot some more.
But you're still going to
I'm
take...
still, she's being, what she's doing right now is I'm making a special ops for a mercenary band. We're already part of a guild.
Gotcha.
So I'm building out this sniper.
With an endpoint in mind.
Very
cool. Very, very cool.
So my question to you as our perennial GM is, are there any times or spaces where you limit that capability?
I think that when it's improperly used, it's so obvious, and otherwise, I think that if you just neuter it, then you don't have the ability for players to play characters that they want to, and I think that that's always important. But I also think that party balance is important too.
How much do you have it be something like where it's simply, I want to take this class, versus feeding or coming from the narrative?
So I think, I'm glad you asked that question. I'm prepared to answer that question. I try to put it not in real world, but character advancement terms, like from a story. I'm going to pick up a very low level of a second skill with less time, effort, and resources. Don't need as much narrative there. Hey, I practiced a little bit when we were making camp, whatever. But as that grows, and as those dual or multi-class intersections are less cohesive, once again, ranger to a druid, you don't really have to take me far down the road, to see where those are intermingling.
Wizard and warlock.
Right? You've got to come up with something there.
But there is a narrative to the story of how that happened.
And I think that
we did have to homebrew that into the campaign to make that work. But
and you need to. But I think that as it gets to the higher levels, and you're getting the benefits of both classes or more classes more often, that it kind of needs to be a bit more narrative, especially if it happens late and it's for a bunch of benefit. If I've been swinging sword and shield for years and years, I don't know that the people at the Wizards Tower are going to be like, "Yep, Brett, come on in. There's room for everybody here. We'll start you at level advanced." It's got to make sense. But I think if you take it away, then you take away a lot of player creativity.
Yep.
Sure. I think that there is a point at which it is beneficial to the player to multi-class. Whether it's certain skills that you're looking for because of the party you're in, or, and honestly, that was a piece of where Idri was, is we didn't have a pure wizard.
No.
And so
I wasn't going to do it.
So my fighter became a wizard.
I would have been a wizard if I'd known you guys back then, but nope.
I think there is a point at which it actually becomes a hindrance.
Explain that.
Well, to the idea of you don't level up. Like even with Idri, as we go through and we replay, especially at those lower levels, a level 2 wizard
Sucks.
can't do squat.
They suck.
They
suck.
And a level 2 fighter isn't really all that.
They suck.
Right. And so when you're at the level of playing
Level
with
3, they're okay.
level 4 and level 5 players in a level 4, level 5 campaign against level 4, level 5 monsters, you're
Sucks.
like, I did 2d4 plus 1 from magic missile.
Everybody pat the dual class character on the head. Go ahead. Yay. But you're right, and that's one of my worries.
Which is why I'm starting to multi-class after I hit 5.
Sure.
So instead of going to level 6, I'll go to 5 and 1.
Okay.
And how'd you, I mean, I know I was there for all of it, but how'd you do it with Ellen? It was a little bit higher in the wizard before you took the levels. You started adding more levels of warlock.
I think I was at least level 2 or 3 of wizard by the time we had the
situation with the warlock.
Yeah. Because since she was good aligned, she kind of had to be forced into that. So we had to railroad.
Yeah, because
that
we
into
decided
happening,
to go with a fiend instead of like a fairy or something like that.
Yeah, because she would never just kind of, oh, hey, I want to do this. So we had to have like a narrative reason for that to make sense. Because, I think, either 2 or 3 of wizard and then 1 of warlock. And then I did more wizard for a while. Because, we made it so that I could only take another level of warlock when something warlock related happened. So if I leveled up anytime outside of that, then I had to take wizard. So I ended up with level.
So the
5.
patron's controlling your progression pretty much. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
And that's actually what I've found very interesting with Ellen's storyline is that it has very much been a cohesive narrative storytelling between the player and the GM to say, what's the story? What's happening here? And how does that play out?
It's one of the more difficult things that I had to do running that game with that character was I wanted there to be patron impact, especially as things got cooking. Yeah. And the last thing that you want to do is take the agency from the player at a very important time, but also at the same time, that pact gets forgotten in big moments so often. It's like, oh, it wouldn't show up now.
Yeah,
that you almost feel obligated from the GM to I don't want to derail anything, but hey, by the way, your arm still has a whole bunch of shit going on. You know what I mean? And I don't know.
Yeah. So where I'm at now is I think we're at level 8 or 9. So I think I am level 6 wizard, level 3 warlock, and that's where I intended to stop. Because actually, I forgot to mention this before, but part of what I wanted out of Warlock,
this was the whole reason behind it.
Not tactical at all, friends.
No.
We've been discovered.
So I kind of have a thing for dragons, and if you play as a wizard,
you have a thing for dragons, Jess? I didn't know this about you.
I love dragons.
Katie,
they're the best fantasy
have you heard
creature
that
ever.
Tori plays rogue? So, there's all kinds of wild shit pop. Late breaking news on finding its.
Are you a GM?
No. Anyway,
so wizard gets you can get as one of your spells find familiar, but there is no option for having it look like a dragon. If you play as a warlock, however, and go Pact of the Chain, you get a free spell of Find Familiar, and a pseudo-dragon is one of the options. So
I think what we have is a very clear case here of
pet dragon.
thank you for being so open with us today. But I think that what we found is that you have a character in mind, yes, and it has a dragon.
Yes.
And I'm sorry, but my last note says willing to sell soul. Is that yes?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
me as the player?
Yes.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, I literally sold my character's soul to a fiend in exchange for a pet dragon.
Okay, but this is the interesting part, I think, about both of these in how we play. Yes, you had someplace as the player where you wanted your character to go, but in order to make it happen, it was all about how does the narrative happen for that to occur. And Tori's was, here's the narrative, and this is what's going on, and
What
this
makes
is-
sense.
and what makes sense to the narrative. And what I love about both of those is that it's all about story. It's all about the
this was-
storytelling.
Pieces of backstory, like it made sense because of the monk piece, because I was not going to be a monk. Fuck that shit. I want weapons. I know you can fight with them, but fuck that shit. I want weapons and I want sneak attack. And because it's me.
So what I'm hearing here is that you have a list of demands. Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
This is good.
So it was either go fighter or go monk. And I'm like, monks don't hide on top of roofs with big guns. Like that doesn't happen.
I mean,
Fighters do. Fighters
they do.
absolutely fucking do.
Yes.
So
fighter.
So there you go.
fighter.
Okay. I have loved this conversation.
We've been so D&D about it.
We have
though.
been so D&D about it. I agree. And I think we're going to say, let's take a break. And when we come back, I sort of want to discuss the fact of why we are so D&D about it. So we're going to take a break and then we'll come back and talk some more.
Okay.
When you sit down at the table, open the books, and spill out the dice, you're looking for an epic adventure. Tabletop role-playing is more popular than ever, and every day new players join our great hobby. My name is Steve Kellums, and I'm the host of the Epic Adventure Podcast. I'm just a fan with a radio voice, but joining me on this quest will be Mike Howlett, the co-founder of Oddfish Games, a great independent game company, and Christina Stiso, a PhD student studying game-based learning. Together, we will discuss all things tabletop gaming, from character creation to world building to setting and pacing. We will give you tips and tricks to make your games, well, epic. Like and subscribe to the Epic Adventure Podcast today.
This episode of Finding a Tori is brought to you by Wordleaf Media. The Finding a Tori podcast is looking for guests for our upcoming episodes. Are you or someone you know passionate about the TTRPG community and have a story to share? If so, contact us on our socials or reach out at wordleafmedia.com/findingatoria. And now back to your program.
Hey guys, welcome back from the break. You are with Finding Atoria, and we are talking about multi-classing. I'm
we are.
Arcadia, and I've got Tori, Malcolm, and Jess here at the table with me. Jess might choke on her laugh that she's trying to hold back from our break.
If you
Breathe, dude, breathe.
If you hit a home run, like as far as you can, like not in the low seats, but the ones above them. What's that?
An upper decker.
So if you ever want to know why we are crazy when we come back from our breaks, you should listen to our behind the scenes on Patreon.
Oh, great plug. I totally forgot that we were doing this for people.
You'll learn more about Atoria. That's for damn sure.
Absolutely.
All right.
All right. So, well, Jess attempts to compose herself. We are.
Button for that.
Well, now I don't know which one. Yeah, whooped his shit.
No.
That's BTS.
What's BTS? Behind the scenes? All right. Okay. We're in danger of dumping this.
We are. Yes. Okay. We're talking multi-classing. And before the break, we had discussed that we had been very Dungeons and Dragons centric in this conversation. And honestly, where it comes down to, in my opinion, is that most other games stay the fuck away from this. I mean, there's ways to do it, but unless you're like a founder, like a foundling of Dungeons and Dragons,
You don't think about doing
they
it.
don't do it.
I don't think that other games address it the same way.
Right.
I don't think that they build in mechanics, especially early AD&D second edition. There was so much, like you had to divide in thirds to get things to certain places, and then the spell casting,
Thank you,
multi-classing.
Gygax. We love your tables.
Well, oh gosh, dude,
Tables. I miss the tables.
and then they would go into like examples. Remember the italic examples where they're like Turek is a, and they would break down
Yep.
if he wanted to go 3rd level fighter to 6th level paladin, because I felt like it was just being tested with that edition, that people have been homebrewing it for a while, of course, but that it was brought it was kind of brought to the forefront there.
What's up?
Dog stepped on my foot and kind of scared the shit out of me because I didn't know it was there.
We do have pets in the studio, and one just scared the hell out of Jess.
Such a range of emotions here on Finding It's Oreo.
Yeah, like it was very purposefully brought in and then maintained from there forward with variations throughout the different editions. But truly, there's not a lot of other games that are doing that. It might be something where you can build out skills that might address, like we were talking about Shadowrun. Yeah.
Star Wars TTRPGs.
How would you could you do a skill build in Star Wars TTRPGs?
Yeah, pretty much. Because like the like the things like your species and your career basically just give you the starting points in stuff and make make things like easier to buy. With the exception is like force skills. If you're not a career that's a force user, then you can't add that later. But like your force user could pick up the piloting skill later, even if they're not.
And
in a
narratively,
pilot
that makes
career.
all the sense in the world, right? The same thing in the Shadowrun universe.
Yeah, you can just pick up different skills as you go, and it might be cheaper if it's a class that works with it.
But you don't necessarily take on a different career or a different title or moniker. You're just, I think, growing your character.
yeah,
Tori, you were saying in Shadowrun you've got to be careful with
You have to be careful in Shadowrun because you can do what you want, but you're gonna shoot yourself in the fucking foot.
Okay,
Because so like Essence. Okay, you want to have a mage, right? You don't want hardware.
Right.
right. Yeah.
So how the fuck are you a
that's-
decker?
it feels
Right. They
very-
would take in a mage. Be a technomancer. If you're gonna do that,
Right.
Do
You've
it the
got
other
to be
way.
careful how you do it.
Because the abilities are not only are they not cohesive, what they also do is kind of offset and just limit your character immediately. You're fighting against yourself.
yeah.
And so many of different worlds.
Gotta worry about karma,
You
too.
know, class is like a job, but then you have something, say, like World of Darkness, where it's not a job. It's a almost a genetic, like this is what you are. You know,
Yeah.
when you're turned into a vampire,
Subspecies sort of.
you know,
clan.
your clan is, you know, it's a part of your DNA almost, you know, so you can't be like, I'm half gangrel and half Bruja.
You can take on traits.
Tori.
I wish we had a camera in here because that expression was glorious.
Tori, it's a Bruegel, and it's not in the room with us right now. You're safe. You're safe. From
How about a gang true?
Okay, that's
That's one
disgusting.
step too far.
Whoa.
Ventrus would never let that
I know
happen.
they would never let it happen.
Yeah. Wow.
No. Especially with gangrels, no.
Right?
So, and I like where we're going with this because I think that where we were focused on the Dungeons and Dragons element of it and how it changed, I thought was really neat from the different. But it almost seems like it's something that doesn't need to be in a lot of other systems separated out from the rules and separated out from character growth in the way that it does with experience and leveling in D&D. And I like that because in its earliest iterations, it was cumbersome and it was not necessarily beneficial to you if you did it wrong. But yeah.
So, Can anybody think of other games other than Dungeons and Dragons where you would want to multi-class? Like we've played a handful of them. What are there any other games where you have been like, hey, I would really
You can
want to
multi-class in Dagger Heart.
Yep.
You can multi-class in Dagger Heart. I don't really think my Shadowrun. Well, I think the story is about. The story gave some stuff. The story, like during the our Shadowrun little thing, yeah, a couple of us got hit with some multi-class features.
Yeah.
And that's what I was going to say is that no matter what game system you're in, I think that can be built into a story. If I've got I'll take our Shadowrun thing. I'm bringing in a lot of shamanistic magic in there, and it's going to affect the players. And so you're going to take on
lit
qualities.
up blue.
Right. You're going to take on qualities of this class, maybe not that you're wanting to, but it can be built in narratively to the story. But I also think that if it's left unchecked, it can be a little silly in a game.
Yeah.
Because like you said, some of those Shadowrun things, it's not going to make sense.
No.
I'm never going to tell a player, like if they come to me with a backstory and be like, I was abducted by, and they did all sorts of, but at some point in time, the mechanics of the game are prohibitive to it.
Right.
Depending on the game.
Like you're gonna lose those trade-offs.
So why does Dungeons and Dragons hold to it? What makes that world and game setting so different from other games?
Probably because of the way the mechanics work, period. The mechanics on most other games are so different, and they've used the same mechanic structure for damn near the whole game. It's a D20 system.
Right.
Pathfinder
It does allow multi-classing.
does allow Oh, yeah.
But
I've
it's
got-
also a D&D baby. And
Yeah.
that was sort of what I was getting at is like, unless you're D&D and a D&D baby, like there's sort of ways you can do it a little bit, but not
because of
really built.
these
to-
are it's a class system.
right.
That's what it is. Mm-hmm. D&D is a class system.
And not a ton of other games do that.
Right.
Correct. And they go ahead.
Like the Star Wars one's a good example because like you've got your career, but like your career basically just gives you points that you can put into skills. The available skills, with the exception of the Force stuff, are available to everybody of any class.
it's
just what you're
experience
gonna-
economy.
That's what it is because these skills and shit come with the class.
Well, and here I think is a really big thing is in Dungeons and Dragons, a lot of your skills are specific to
the
your
class.
class.
And
So,
if-
I mean, class and career are almost the same thing, but
The way it's
you
built.
can't cast a spell unless you're a spellcaster. And so
Why would you want to?
that is different than,
Sorry.
I play with a computer and I'm really, really good at it. And then, but I want to learn how to fly a plane,
Well, it was so new then that they put restrictions on what races could do what multi-classes. It was down to and if
That's
you were
true,
if
yeah.
you were a wizard and you had a specialty, you could multi-class because the assumption was that you were.
You were busy in that.
Yeah, wizards to multi-class as a wizard was a really big
And
deal.
if you were a priest or a cleric at the time and you wanted to multi-class, it was you had restrictions on when you could, and then you had to ask the GM for permission, and there had to be a whole change of mythos thing, and it just felt like it was for good or ill. I don't know which system's better, but it held more weight back then, and they were trying to be very careful with it because I think in the earliest iterations, without the parameters they put on it for leveling and multi-class versus dual class, it could have broken the game very early.
Yeah.
So, do we think that is an issue in other games then? If you can build out skills in others, like take the Star Wars, Jess. I mean, do you think building out skills in lots of different areas allows your character to become too OP? Like, should there be stricter guidelines around it?
I don't think so with that one. I mean, to be fair, I haven't leveled this character particularly far yet to really. I mean, like I've got a level 20 D&D character, like so. And I don't have a character that's progressed that far into that game in order to really compare. But I think that the way the point buying system is kind of puts the guardrails on yourself. Like, you only have so many points.
Right, and if
you only have so many points.
You're doing something, you're not doing something else.
Right, exactly.
And where it would be broken, I would think if you're like, okay, I want to be a star pilot and a da-da-da, and if I've got 5 experience points, I get to spend them in both places. Now you're screwing the game up in the economy.
Yeah,
but I think as you earn them, you have to buy is a very good way to do it.
Yeah, because if you only have 5 points, like, well, you could put all 5 and be a really good pilot, or you can be a mediocre pilot and a mediocre sniper, or whatever it is.
Right, and then you might get caught on planet without a starship and be like, shit, I really should have learned how to start a fire.
Right. Yeah, exactly. It's like,
so does Dungeons and Dragons allow our characters to get too OP?
I don't think so.
I think GMs allow characters to get too OP. If you play rules as written on even the most modern, which I think is the most loose and generous
you can
ability
really
for multi-classing, you can do
every level up. You could choose a different class.
Like Tori said, you can plot out your tree to where you want to go. I think even with that, rules as written doesn't let you stack. You can never do spell feature on spell feature. You can't do a druid armor effect and a wizard armor effect and stack them. You've got to pick one and use it. So there's guardrails, but it's a wide berth of options in there.
I will say one of the things that I thought it was interesting in the community talking about multi-classing in Dungeons and Dragons was that at least one rule guardrail in place is that you can't multi-class in the same class. I can't do Eldritch Knight and, Champion.
Oh, so, okay.
I can't take 3 levels of Rogue subclass, take another 3 levels of Rogue, take that other subclass.
No, you can't.
But there was discussion in the forums.
Yeah, I'm sure.
About
can I do that?
As a DM, would you allow that? No. And and some were open to the idea.
That's
I find it
It
interesting.
just seems dumb, though.
I know, right?
You're going to burn through some freaking encounters in a hurry, but
yeah. So
it seems dumb.
So I like the option to do that inside D&D. The way that it's done mechanically, because I think it gives a player more player agency. If you can create another level in your brain, if there's a different facet or something happens narratively that compels a change in the character, I like that being there. I find it clunky versus the points buy systems that let you do it organically through spending that experience economy.
Yeah. That's what I was going to say. Is I think that would be my sort of final question. Is would you like to see a better mechanic system within other games to ease the ability to multi-class, or do you like that it's not set up that way?
Well, but the other games aren't built the same.
Right.
So
Right.
it doesn't.
It's apples and oranges in some ways.
Some of them I don't really care because I can build the character out that I want within the correct confines.
Sure.
If that makes sense.
Sure.
Yeah. And for me, I mean, we all know it's all about the narrative for me.
Right.
So, however, I think any mechanic setup is gonna let me do some kind of make the character the way I want. And yeah, I mean, who knows, as I play my Emperor's Hand Force user character, in the Star Wars games, like, maybe I will discover that, I actually need this skill now. This one was useless. All right, I'm not going to put any more points into that, but it could be useful to have this other one, and just see where the campaign takes me, like what Tori's campaign did.
Sure. I didn't know it was going to happen until it was like, this is not roguey shit that I'm doing. Like, wait, something is wrong here. And I went, well, dual class or multi-class into fighter. And then my DM was like, it works. I was like, yes. All right. Thank you, Val. Let's go.
Right on.
All right. Well, guys, thank you so much for bringing your information to the table, your stories, your experiences. I really do think in a lot of ways, multi-classing is something fairly unique to Dungeons and Dragons that we've all had sort of a lot of fun exploring how that allows us to, deepen how we build our character. But don't miss it in other games because of how they're designed. I'd love to hear, listeners' experiences. If they've maybe
yeah.
sort of
Why did
multi-classed
you
out
do
in
it?
some other games.
What did you lose?
Or why they don't want to do it in Dungeons and Dragons, or what that might be. So, check us out on our socials and leave us some notes on how
Please.
you do multi-classing or not, as you wish. You can always find us on our socials at Facebook and Instagram. We're on YouTube. And please check out our website at www.wordleafmedia.com/findingatoria and push the button. Join us on Patreon. You can hear us be absolutely off the rails. If you thought we were during the shows,
in the
you
sinking
just don't
fields
even
to the
know.
north.
We love you guys. Thank you for listening, and we'll talk to you next time.
Bye. This episode of Finding Atoria is brought to you by Wordleaf Media. Find us at wordleafmedia.com/findingatoria if you or anyone you know has stories or other good things to say about TTRPGs. Get a hold of us. You can find us on all the social medias.
This episode of Finding Atoria is brought to you by Wordleaf Media. Are you interested in sharing stories of your favorite TTRPG experiences? If so, reach out at www.wordleafmedia.com/contact us on our socials, or you can now leave a comment on your favorite Finding Atoria episode at our Wordleaf Media YouTube channel.